13, and that's when I started acting.
So there's obviously a performance element to ice skating.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that kind of helps like transition you to. But when did you realize that like acting was the thing that I'm gonna do this for my career?
Yeah. So when I got injured at 13, I couldn't skate for a year, and my mom didn't want me sitting around being a normal teenager. So she dragged me to audition for a play at a local community theater. And I got to play, and then she dragged me to quit and focus on acting, and I just decided there was more longevity as an actress than as an ice skater.
Which is a bold move as a teenager, considering like the success rate of some people's careers.
I know, right?
Good gamble, good gamble.
Yeah, I took the riskier road, I think.
So who are some of the role models in your life? It sounds like your mother was a driving force at least, but who are some of the people you look up to?
Wow, Oprah.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't look up to Oprah? You know, growing up, I think for me, you know, it was a lot of my mom. My mom was not allowed to go to college. You know, my grandfather didn't think women should go to college, so she wasn't allowed to go to college. She was never allowed to pursue any kind of dream of hers. You know, her role was to get married and have kids, and she made sure that she raised my sister and I to think otherwise, that we could pursue and do anything we wanted to do.
And then speaking of college, we were just chatting about how you went to NYU.
Yes.
And how does the New York kind of theater thing, how did that influence you in terms of like now your approach to things?
Because they knew I would never come home. Because I wanted to go to Hollywood. Like I was like, I want to be on TV. I didn't really want to do theater. So I think it was important that I went to NYU and I did do theater. It gave me a different perspective of what I wanted, and it also gave me some clout when I moved out to LA. And it was fun. I loved living in New York City. But I mean, literally in all the, they would do the evaluations every year, and every teacher would write, go to LA and get your TV show. You're not meant to be in New York. And I was like, I know. But it was fun.
And then you continued to study afterwards though, right? Like you could.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. My acting teacher, Tony Greco, I met him my last year at NYU, and I continued studying and taking classes with him, and he would teach in LA, and so when he was in LA, I would go to his classes, and I think acting is a journey. You do have to constantly study. I've actually been thinking about going back to class, just to, I don't know, see if I've developed any bad habits. I don't know if I have. It's hard to tell.
Well, I think with any kind of skill, right, you want to make sure that you are keeping up with it, right? It's an evolving craft.
It is, and because you're evolving as a person, your craft is evolving and changing too, and sometimes I think it's important if you want to like deepen your work or do something different or try a different approach, that it's important to go back to class and try it there.
So I'd love to know, what is either the most logistically or emotionally challenging scene that you can remember?
I always draw a blank at these questions under pressure, but then I'll think about it like 3 hours from now. You know, the one that was the toughest on Angel was singing. I'm not a singer. Terrifies me, and I was absolutely terrified. And thank God they picked a song that only had 3 notes in it. But I got to record it ahead of time. And even in the sound studio where we were recording it, I had to like have them close the curtains between the glass, and I had to like hide in the corner and turn out the lights and close my eyes and like pretend I was by myself. It was really tough. Singing is not my thing. You'll never see me at karaoke ever. Like never. So.
Do you have any other memorable audition stories? Because you auditioned early and you to great success, obviously. Because you were working when you were in school.
Yeah, I think for me, I've always loved auditioning, and I think it's because it's not ice skating. There's nothing more terrifying than competing as a figure skater. You got one shot, you know, and if you
There's
fall,
no take two.
No, there's no take two. Like if you fall down, like that's it, and you got to continue. Like you still have to finish your program. So I think the transition to acting was the audition process was so. I took to it very easily because I was like, oh, they don't really know if you screwed up. They can't tell. Like you're not, and unless you physically fall down in an audition, which I mean, it could happen, I guess. But,
intentionally or unintentionally.
But I don't fall down in auditions, so yet, knock on wood. But for me, it just was so much easier than being a competitive figure skater.
Are there any skills that you've learned from working as an actor, not necessarily being a skater, that you've been able to apply to real life?
Skills as an actor that I've been able to apply to.
Like you've had to learn something for a role and you're like, oh, actually that's pretty handy.
Well, I mean, I'm trained in weapons. Like I can fire all types of guns. But I would never own a gun, which is kind of funny. But like I know how to defend myself. I just probably wouldn't. It's awful to admit. You know, I love that I am great with weapons, but it's just not something. I mean, I know how to change a mag without looking at it in like 3 seconds. I know how to twirl pistols. I had to do that in Boondock Saints too. I had to take pistol twirling classes and rehearse like for 2 months straight. So I'm good at parties.
Is there like a specific instructor just for pistol twirling?
Yes, I had a guy. I had a pistol twirling guy that gave me a bunch of lessons. And then you know who's really good at it is Sean Patrick Flannery. And he's just good at it because like he's kind of like a dork that way. You know, he likes to twirl pistols.
Yes, dork and pistol twirling are 2 words. That's how I describe it.
He's a hot dork. But no, he's just that guy who likes that kind of stuff. And so he actually choreographed the scene in Boondock Saints 2 where I come out with the pistol twirling stuff. He choreographed the whole thing for me.
See, do you have any hidden talents?
I do this little impression. It's really kind of scary, I think. It's called Thumbelina Stuck in a Jar. It's my one talent. This is awesome. I'm also really good at kids' parties.
That's a party trick right there.
I told my nephews I had a little alien trapped inside of me, and for years they thought I had this alien inside, and that was the alien talking.
Handy trick. How do you define personal success now, and how has that changed from earlier in your career?
Wow, personal success. Well, I think earlier in my career, I was raised by parents that money defines success and all of that. I think for me, doing what you love is what defines success. Being passionate about your job, going to work on a Monday, not feeling like, oh, it's Monday, but being excited that it's Monday. That's how I define success. I love being an actor. I love being on set. I love every aspect of it. And I feel so blessed that I discovered that love early on. Not everybody knows what they want to be when they grow up, so some people, they struggle and they don't discover it till later in life. But I just think having something you're passionate about is so important, and that's what success is. So whether you're passionate about coaching Little League or passionate about
Twirling pistols.
Twirling pistols, or even like raising kids. If that's what you're passionate about and that's what you want to do, then do it and love it.
Thank you for that painful reminder that tomorrow's Monday.
Tomorrow's Monday. I'm excited for tomorrow.
Well, you love what you do. No. We are going to take audience questions in a moment, if anyone would like to line up. How do you relax?
How do I relax? I work out a lot. I find that exercise is very important for my mental health. And maybe because I was raised as an athlete, for me, if I'm upset, I work out. If I'm happy, I work out. If I break up with a boyfriend, I work out. You know what I mean? If I don't get a job, I work out. If I get a job, I work out. Like, it's just working out is just like the thing that, it keeps me stable, it makes me happy. I work out a ridiculous amount of time. I work out for like 2 hours a day. Don't judge me, please. But it's 2 hours where I just don't have to focus on anything except what my body is doing. And it's kind of meditative for me as well. So I do want to start meditating. I do think I need it. I think I move too much.
I was going to say working out is a form of meditation, but speaking of working out, did you get to arm wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin? No? Or do we not get to see that matchup?
No, he was so sweet. He came up to me in the green room and he said he was too intimidated to arm wrestle me.
Yes, that's very fair. All right.
Okay, working with John with
And the read-throughs and everything for the show. And he's such a sweet, lovely man who always has music and in his going through his body. He's always like singing or humming or like, he's just very musical. And he's very kind and very sweet. I do have a funny story. I was in New York City one time and I went to Whole Foods at Columbus Circle and I went to check out and the lady who was checking me out, she was like, and I was like, what? And she was like, Trinity was just here. I guess that's his local Whole Foods. And I guess he was just there like an hour before me. And she was like, oh my God.
Thank you. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
I'm a really big fan. I love how you've developed a career as being this awesome character actor with really great arcs in a lot of the series that you've done, especially from Buffy to Angel. Your longevity in this career has been really impressive. So speaking on Dexter, what did you think about Rita's arc overall throughout the series? And if there's anything you would have changed as Dexter's partner, what would you have changed? What did you think about overall her arc?
Well, I would have changed the end of season 4. I would have changed that. I would have, and I tried. I did try. I said, wait, no, you can't kill me. I just had a baby. Not me, character, just had a baby. No, I mean, I really loved season 1 and season 2 Rita, like the damaged, fragile bird that she was. Especially season 1 Rita. Because I loved going to work and not having to wear makeup. It was amazing. I rolled in with the guys. Like, I didn't have the hour and a half hair and makeup call. I rolled in with the guys, went to rehearsal. They took a look at me, put some powder on my nose and sent me out. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is what it's like to be a man in the business. I don't have to sit in the hair and makeup chair forever. And I loved that part of Rita. I loved her damagedness. I was reluctant when they wanted to make her stronger. I tried to fight that, but they felt that she needed to grow and become stronger, and then becoming stronger, more hair and makeup and prettier clothes and all of that. And I was really reluctant. I liked the original Rita, but every character has to grow and change. But yeah, I would have changed the end of season 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would have loved to have explored Rita finding out about Dexter. I really would have loved to have seen what her reaction would have been. Or what would I do? I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. I'm kind of obsessed with true crime. I think I really think slowly poisoning somebody.
Ooh.
You gotta play the long game, and it's gotta be undetectable. It's hard to get rid of a weapon and not have it be traced back to you. That's tough.
Right.
But I think slowly poisoning.
Would you do it in a drink or food or some other way?
Oh,
I'm just trying to figure out how to avoid what to avoid in the green room.
I'm a really good cook, so I would definitely do it through food. Because you would love what you were eating, but I'd be slowly poisoning you.
If I had to go, about it, but my food would be fine by me. So.
But you know, I wouldn't kill a lot of people. It's because I'd have to play the long game.
Right.
Like, the real long game of it. Like months of poisoning.
Up in that dose every day.
Yeah.
Last year.
So for me, it's always great because it's something like the whole family can sit down and watch. And you know, my niece who's 7 and wants to be an actress, and she knows that people know me from shows, but she can never watch anything I've done. So it's really hard for her to understand why people know me, you know. So, and she really wants to watch Dexter, but she's 7, you know. So, so Hallmark Movies give me that ability where, you know, the younger family members can actually see what their Aunt Julie does for a living. And I just, first of all, I like the channel itself. I like that it's female-oriented, women-oriented, as far as even just like the executives, the stars. You know, it's a very female-friendly channel to work for. And the movies are fun, and who doesn't like a good Christmas movie, right?
Like his ways in the shadows and whatnot. But like, I wanted to see your perspective on what you actually would have thought of if she found out, because that'd be totally different on how it transitioned to the end of the series itself.
Yeah, so for me, I always imagined it would be that you could show Rita the docu-series of Dexter and show her that he was doing all of this. And I think she would have been unable to believe that about him. Especially because she had a child with him. Because I just think it's really hard to recognize that the person you've chosen to be your spouse, and that you've chosen to be the father of your child, and that you share a life with, if it's revealed that they're a serial killer, it's really hard to take that in, because what does that reveal about you? And what does that reveal about this child of yours? I just don't think she would have, I think she would have defended him, and you could have even shown her the show, and she would have been like, that's not my Dexter. That's not him. Because I just don't think she could have taken that in. It would have been nice, though, if she would join him in killing.
And we know
But that
how.
would never have happened.
The series, and if so, did that place any kind of pressure on you as an actress?
Well, I knew I was going to be the first face because I read the script.
A good step in any project.
I read the script. I didn't think, you know, but when Buffy first, when we were filming the pilot even, I mean, it was for a little unknown network called the WB that nobody had really heard of. And Joss Whedon wasn't Joss Whedon, he was just Joss Whedon. You know what I'm saying? So I think we all just felt like we were at summer camp and trying to, like, we were hoping it was going to be good, but we didn't know. And we were all, I was young, I wasn't like really aware of it. To me, it was just a job I was doing, and it wasn't, I didn't think bigger picture. If it was today, and Joss Whedon was doing Buffy today, and Joss Whedon was Joss Whedon today, and I was given that role, then yeah, I would feel a lot more pressure than I did then. And to bring them to life, and that there's a reason why the writers have chosen those words specifically. But then I have to make it seem like it's improvisational.
It's new every time.
Yeah, like it's the first time every time. But you know, Joss didn't allow a lot of improv on the show, and it didn't need it because the writing was so specific. So specific, it didn't need it. Now, I've worked on other shows where I've been like, gotta fix this. But I do always try to approach the text as, this is the text and it's my job to elevate it and bring it to life in the way that it's written, and these words are chosen specifically for a reason. And how can I do that and make it seem like it's improvisational? Don't go to a hotel room for an audition or a meeting, ever. You know, I think it's important Listen, I've been 34 years in this industry, and I've come across my fair share of,
Less than upstanding.
less than upstanding humans, men and women. And I think for me, I've always been very quick at how to rebuff without offending, like how to diffuse without offending. I remember I was very young. When I was first new in Hollywood, and I was working on a show, and one of the producers had asked me out on a date. And I tell you, it works, right? It's like, it works. They're never offended. They stop. Now, this older actress told me, you do have to make it a point then, if that's what you're gonna say. And I've never dated anybody who's ever been in a position to hire or fire me, ever. So I did make it a point to get through my career that way. So I just think it's important that you have those phrases, whether you're a man or a woman, if you're in your work environment, if somebody is being inappropriate or coming on to you, having those like key phrases that you know how to do it without offending, but sending the message very, very quickly and very strong, you know.
People this weekend have talked about the power of no. And I think it's just an important reminder of like, yes, you can say no. It's okay to say the no.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's great that I love this younger generation coming up of women in the industry, especially where like they're going to be believed. I've seen so many people not be believed over what's happened, like over sexual harassment, and it's nice that we're going to believe the victims now, because like it's really hard to speak up and say that happened.
Time's up now.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think being direct about it. I think you know, I'm 47, so I was raised in a generation where it was like just play nice. You know, I remember watching Love Boat. Do you remember? You're too young to remember Love Boat.
I've still seen Love Boat though.
Right, Love Boat. You remember that episode when Julie's friend came on and she was super smart and she had to play dumb to get the guy? Yeah, I was raised on that. Like, right? Like that was like the messaging I was getting as a kid. Like you couldn't be too smart to get the guy. You had to be dumb. You know the movie Grease? The message that sends out? Dress like a slut and you get the guy?
Don't be yourself. Grease.
No.
Yeah,
like dress like a slut and smoke cigarettes and you're gonna get the cool guy. That was how I was raised. Like, I think changing the messaging is important for young women. I think we're seeing that and we're doing that.
Are there
I did not understand the ending.
Where can we see you next?
You can see me next on Sunday. Sunday, August 25th on Showtime, I am recurring on a new series for Showtime called On Becoming a God in Central Florida. It's a long title, I know. It stars Kirsten Dunst. It's a dark comedy that's centered around a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme in the early 1990s. So you'll see me with lots of hair, lots of shoulder pads. I play Carol. Carol's just sweet as pie.
And the first 2 episodes they're making available, right?
The first 2 episodes are actually available for free right now on show.com and on YouTube, but I don't know how to do that YouTube thing. I don't know if I know there's like YouTube TV and then there's YouTube with videos. I don't know
They'll figure it out.
YouTube it is, but it's on YouTube and on show.com. You can watch it for free right now. The first 2 episodes. Episode 5 is my really big episode, so don't miss it. And in the finale, I get to do a little dance number. I should tell you about that. It's really exciting. I get to combine my love of dance and
Acting.
And acting.
And multi-level marketing.
Yeah, and it was so much fun. But